Welcome back to the Media Centre, Thomas. You've just come to us from the opening ceremony. The 2018 Ryder Cup is now officially open.
Yes.
I'm sure the men and women out here are going to have a few questions for you about the pairings, but first of all, could you just give us a little bit of insight into how you and the players are feeling now that, well, it's go time, essentially?
No, I said for a long time this week that we're ready to go, and that's this is it. You know, we stand on the night of this starting, and I felt like on Tuesday, we were dragging our feet a little bit and getting to know everything, and then the last 2 days have just been fantastic. There's been an unbelievable mood in the camp. They've been great on the golf course. They played with each other out there and had a nice time. The team room's been brilliant. So, you know, we stand here and all is good. And you know, the great thing about tonight is that I'll get a night's sleep the night before the matches, because I think that speech has been playing on my mind for a while. So I'm looking forward to actually get to bed tonight, and then we go tomorrow. But you know, there's a wonderful mood in this group of guys. They're really good with each other. So yeah, we're ready to go.
Thank you, and we'll take some questions. Mic 1 with Phil over here first.
Thomas, we can all try and analyse what you were thinking, but perhaps it'd be easiest just to ask you, how did you come to these 4 pairings?
Well, I think I ran into one of these problems that everybody around would say is a positive problem. Everybody's playing well and everybody's feeling good. So, you know, I've looked at these guys, and I think, you know, there's obviously the obvious guys out there in the sense that people that you would all expect to be there, and then, you know, there's a new guy in every group. You know, but they've been just edging to go, and especially, you know, Bjørn and John and Till, you know, they really just desperate to get out on that golf course. So wanted to get them out there. I mean, Tommy's a different guy, you know, in the way that he's won around here, and he's been real quality for the last couple of years. You know, he's very calm and relaxed. I mean, they're not going to give it a lot away with emotion, those two at the end there. They are, but they're great together, and they feel really comfortable and good. So, you know, this is what we go with tomorrow morning, and it's a marathon. You know, it really is, and I just believe very much in this team. I believe in them as a group. I believe in them as individuals, and I've just really felt like, you know, this is what I saw. This is what we saw in the group of 6 of us. You know, and when we sat down yesterday and today and went through it, you know, it very much came to us like this, and that gives us, we feel it gives us a lot of options as well going forward. But delighted with the way that it turned out this evening.
And mic 3 with James on the right here.
Thomas, do you intend to play everyone tomorrow?
Well, I've said all along, you'll have to wait and see. You know, I mean, it's one of those things that your dream is probably to play everyone, but we'll have to wait and see. You know, there's so many things that can happen in the space of an hour and a half in a Ryder Cup. So I've not locked that down at all. But you know, we'll wait and see. It's certainly a strong group of guys that are sitting on waiting to get out to play. So we'll have to wait and see.
And over to the left, mic 2.
Thomas, you mentioned so many guys are chomping at the bit, but a lot has been made about Jon Rahm's energy, especially coming into this week. How much of that was a motivation in your decision to put him out in that first group?
Yeah, but John's a guy that, you know, he wants to be out there. He wants to be, you know, he wants to have a responsibility. He wants to feel like he's in the center of what is. And you know, it's not every rookie in the world you take and put them on the first tee in the first match at the Ryder Cup, but this one's is pretty special. And not talking about him as this week, but just in general, he's just a pure quality and competitive and just want to be out there. So we send him out tomorrow morning with probably one of the best players, or the best player in the world, arguably at the moment. So, you know, that's a pretty good place to be for a rookie. I would look forward to it if it was me.
And staying on the left, mic 4 at the centre aisle.
Thomas, just to clarify your position, you said that you're not sure if you will or won't have somebody set out. Could you give us the specific reasons why you wouldn't have somebody set out, or why you would have someone sit out?
No, but there's a lot of things that can happen, you know, overnight. I mean, there's all sorts of people wake up, I mean, in different ways, and they, you know, at the moment we're in a good place with all 12. We felt all of us when we sat down that we've seen so many good things over the 3 days, and we were happy with where everybody is, and that's a good reason to play them all. But that doesn't mean that you are going to play them all. You know, there's so many things can happen tomorrow. That can be guys that don't feel right, or there can be guys that are, you know, just a little bit off, and then, you know, might be better wait until Saturday. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. I mean, I got my plans in my head about what I want to do, but I've said all along as a captain, you got to be aware that they move.
And over to the right, Mike 1.
Thomas, yeah, what final message will you give to your players tomorrow morning before sending them out? And now that we're here, how confident are you that Europe will win?
No, but that's an opportunity. You know, this is an opportunity to stand up and follow in the footsteps of all the great players of this continent. And that's the opportunity they have. Some of them have a long-standing Ryder Cup career and history with this event. And some of them are just setting out on a new chapter in their lives. But for all of them, it's an opportunity to add to what their golf careers is about. I've always said one thing about the game of golf. Players, they stand up and they're counted for what they do in the greatest events in the world. But legends are made in this event. You know, that is where the public comes around them, and they can do so much for their careers. It's an opportunity to go out there and be the best that you can be on a grand stage.
And staying on the right with you, and Mike 3.
Thomas, is Henrik not playing in the morning at all linked to his injury or fitness situation?
No, there's nothing to do with that at all.
He spoke yesterday about tiredness, whatever. That was all. I wondered if it.
Yeah, but you know, we find ourselves in a you know, for our guys being at home match is difficult in a way that it's a bit tiring. You know, you're doing a lot of things. For these guys, there's a lot of media stuff from their home nations, and you know, so they live in a home match, but they actually travel to a away match from their homes. You know, they live in America, so they get a little bit compounded the first couple of days with extra stuff, so they feel it a little bit more. They feel a jet lag, and then they also got to do all those things that come in with being at home. So that's a little bit different. So yeah, so as I said, on Tuesday they were dragging their feet a little bit, all the guys that came from America, and that's natural because they've been over there for so long, and it's just a little bit of traveling. And so, but that doesn't mean that, you know, Henrik is a guy that, you know, you can use him 5 times, you can use him 4 times, you can use him 3 times, or you can play him 2 times. He will stand up and he will do what he can do best in whatever position he's put in the team. I've known Henrik for so many years, and it's not like you walk up to him and say, okay, you're not playing tomorrow morning, and he looks at you like you don't know what you're doing. He just goes, okay, well, I'll go with that, and, you know, we go with it as a team. He's a brilliant guy to have in that room because he just does what is best for the 12.
And Mike 2 over here on the left.
Thomas, during the opening ceremony, you had very strong words about the unity of Europe and the pride of being a European. Was it something to get your players even more fired up, or more of a personal issue you wanted to share?
No, but I think, you know, I'm a European, and I play on the European tour and done for most of my life. I've been focused solely on that tour, and I'm very proud of that. And I'm very proud of this part of the world as a continent. I'm very proud of what we are. And I always feel like when I get into a Ryder Cup team, it brings the best out in all Europeans. That is what we are. We are cross nations. We have different cultural backgrounds. We believe in different things, but when we get in that team, we get together and are proud of being Europeans. And I sometimes think that's forgotten, that we have so much in common. That's my opinion. Not everybody shares that opinion, but that's my opinion. I felt like I wanted to portray what we are as a team to the people that were watching.
Staying on this side, Mike 4.
Thomas, a follow-up to the previous question, actually, in a way. I mean, I thought it was a very interesting speech. You referred to the unity of Europe. You referred to the flag. It was almost as if you were deliberately addressing the people of the UK.
Not at all. Not at all. Just remember one thing. I lived 15 years of my life in England, and England is my home, and I love the country. I love living there. I have an English girlfriend, and it is my home, and it'd probably be very difficult for me to see any time in the future coming out of that country. So I love everything about that country, but I am a European, and I'm Danish by birth, and I believe in the things that I believe in, but that doesn't mean that I believe in the European Union or not. I'm not addressing the people of the United Kingdom in any way, shape or form in this. I'm addressing what we are in that European team room, and trust me, if you look at all the United Kingdom players who are in that team, they wore that today because this week, that's what they represent. And as I said in the speech as well, that for us represents the boundaries of Europe this week. It doesn't represent the European Union.
And over here on the right, mic 1.
Thomas, Ian Poulter obviously has a phenomenal Ryder Cup record, and he was one of your wild cards. Was it? Can you just speak about? Was it a difficult decision to leave him out, and also perhaps Sergio, another one who was another one of your wild cards?
Yeah, but they're all difficult to leave out, and especially guys that played in so many, But I'm quite sure that you'll see them on the golf course at some stage before Sunday, and they fall into the group like anybody else, and they know what they are and what they represent and what they can go out and deliver, and it's all about building for the whole week. I believe in that strongly, but as I said before, I had some guys that were really, really keen on getting out on the golf course, and they never been here before. So I felt like it was really important to get them out there because I believe in them and I trust them. And then, there were some guys that had to sit out. It's the worst part of being Ryder Cup captain. It's the picks, and it is leaving guys out for the matches. But that's what makes this event so great. I mean, you've done nothing but predict in the paper of what was going to happen with the two teams, and you'll all be making your comments if we're right or wrong on what we did. And but that's what makes it great. It creates stories. It creates people's interest, and we don't go into a room and just draw names out of a hat. I sit with 5 extremely experienced vice captains, and we have a conversation. I make the decisions in the end, but we don't just come up with it for fun. We go with what we see and what we feel and what we think is right for this team.
And mic 2 over in the left here, please, Thomas.
Thomas, you've just outlined your faith in the rookies that are out first tomorrow. Do you think picking them ahead of some really experienced names will really give them an extra confidence boost? The fact that they've been picked over guys like Ian and Sergio.
When I played in my first match in 1997, I didn't play till Saturday, and it was really, really difficult. And that was not a question that when Sevi said to me, I wasn't playing on Friday. It wasn't something where I got upset or disappointed in the way that I wanted to just learn everything about the Ryder Cup, and I wanted to be part of that team. But as you reflect on it afterwards, you work so hard for so long to get in the team, and you want to be out on that golf course, and that's how you are as a player. And when I look at this group of guys that's come into this team, they're really hard competitors, and I believe in them so much. And I wanted to give them that responsibility of standing up and go out there and enjoy it. You don't want to get yourself in positions where you're forced into do something. We go with this tomorrow morning, and I'm happy with the way it's come out. I just don't think there's any weaknesses in this team, and that's kind of makes me really happy, but it also makes the decisions very difficult.
And mic 3 over on the right-hand side.
Thomas, just wondering about the synergies that you saw that brought you to put Rory and Bjørn out together tomorrow.
Well, they both wanted to play with each other. That's a good start. And then, you got... if you ask the guys in our team, who do you want to play with? I mean, Rory's not far away, is he, from most of their lips. It's a pretty easy choice. But Bjørn is a player. They get on really well, and they spend a lot of time together. And the thing about Bjørn is that a lot of people would think, oh, is that a big thing for him? He'll go out in that match, and he's really, really, he'll take it on and really enjoy it. And that's where he comes from in most things. He never ceases to amaze me in the way he approaches things. He's fallen into this group right in the middle of it. He's the only one without a girlfriend or wife this week, and he still falls into the middle of it in a great way. He never sits in a corner and does his own thing, and he's right in the middle of the group, and that's great to see from a rookie. He doesn't come in with big arm movements, but he just falls into the group. Everybody, how can you not like him? He's a pretty good guy and a pretty special person. And they were both really keen on it. And once they were keen on it, then I started looking at it. And I've spoken to both of them for a while about this now. And then I started looking at it, and that it turned out the way they've been playing and how they're feeling on the golf course. They really look forward to it, and as a pairing, that's a great start. If you want to play with each other and you look forward to getting out on that golf course together, well, then you're off to a good start. There's no guarantees that any golfer of these 24 is going to go out and play great tomorrow, but you got to have all this framework to give them an option to go and play great.
And staying on the right, Mike 1.
Thomas, in the position you're in of blooding rookies early on, would you be satisfied with coming out of the morning on equal terms?
Yeah, I think you always got to look at any session and say, if you're not losing the sessions, it's not too bad. But that also depends on where you are. But I think you'd like to be ahead after any session, but. When I look at these matches, they're just they could be as tight as anything, all four of them, and it's impossible for me to predict what's going to happen. But I'm very focused on my side of what I put out, and not so much focused on what they're up against, in the sense that our 8 players that are going out tomorrow morning, the only thing they can do is go out and play as good as they can, and then we'll see what the results are. Golf is a funny game, but this is what I trust and believe in for tomorrow morning.
And the centre aisle on Mike 4 is Doug.
Thomas, having been part of this Ryder Cup for so many years in different roles, what on the eve of the matches, where does most of the anxiety come from, and is it any different as a captain than it was as a player?
Yeah, it is, because as a player, you're worried about how you're playing the golf course and where you are with your game and how that's going to stand up. As a captain, you're worried about where 12 players are with their game and how their game is going to stand up. And that's just the way it is. And then there's so much other stuff going on as a captain, so your mind is always thrown to different kinds of things. And so you go through all that stuff that comes with it. So as a captain, your anxiety or your anticipations come from places where you're not used to, so you don't recognize those feelings. You don't recognize when they come. As a player, you know exactly when you're gonna be nervous. You know exactly how you're gonna react to it. You know exactly, you're gonna, as the week progresses, you're gonna go to bed 1 or 2 nights where you're thinking maybe for an hour or two about how to play the golf course and what's going to happen, and then you go to bed on Thursday night, you're nervous, and you wake up Friday morning and you're even more nervous. But we're used to dealing with those situations. The walk to the first tee, what that's going to be like. But as a captain, you've never done this before, so you're walking into all these new situations, and you get nervous about things in the week where you think, I don't know what I'm nervous about, but there's obviously something in my mind that I need to figure out what that is. And then you start kind of outlining what it is, and then you deal with it, but you're finding new things as you go along. But that's part of the fun, I guess.
What would surprise you?
What would surprise me? I mean, I think I learned to not expect anything but surprises in this. It surprised me it was quiet on the first tee.
And staying in the centre at Mike 2.
Thomas, would you give an example, please, of how you use the data, what you listen to in the data with the pairings, and when you listen to your gut?
Yeah, but that's, I think I've talked about all the way through my captaincy that, you know, going into pairings, and it was the same with the picks, you know, you go with certain elements is on the data, and certain elements is how I feel and how people around me feel, and making those decisions. And, you know, in the end, feeling that things are right between these players and it works is probably the thing that comes out the most, you know, and that comes a lot from the players themselves. You know, they, as much as this group gets on across everything, obviously there are some that are attracted to each other more in the way of playing golf, because that's just that they see themselves as personalities and the way they play, and you look at all those things. But sometimes you also got to stand up and say, okay, you two might not know each other very good, but this does fit. You know, every stat in the world will tell me that you two fit well together, so you need to go and play together. But then you work on them, not for 2 days, but for 2-3 weeks. When you know your team, you start working on it then, and you get it in their heads, and then you assess it when you get here. Are they actually... You know, the stats say they're working well, should work well together. Are they now gelling as a pair? And then you can give it a try.
And the final question, Mike 3 at the back.
Thomas, what are your plans for tomorrow? Are you going to drive around like Sevi did in Valderrama, or what sort of groups are you going to support, or how are you going to do it?
No, I'm going to have a salary discussion with Keith Pelly, I think. You know, I want to be out on the golf course as much as I can. That's something that I'm quite looking forward to. These days, leading into it is quite demanding on the captain. Actually, tomorrow the fun starts, and you're out with the players, and you're watching a bit more. And I want to be out there. And obviously, I got great vice captains, and they'll keep me informed. But I want to be out there because I feel like the presence on the golf course is the one place where you get the atmosphere and you get the feeling of what is actually going on. I got an earpiece in, and I know every golf shot that's been hit throughout the day, but it's a bit like listening to a football match or watching a football match. It's not quite the same.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Sorry, Charlie.
It's more the quality than the quantity? All right.
Okay, well, welcome back to the Media Centre, Jim. You've just announced your pairings there at the opening ceremony, which means that the 2018 Ryder Cup is about to begin. Just tell us how you and the players are feeling now that it's ready to kick this off.
Yeah, you could see it kind of, I think, on both sides. The teams, looks on the faces. The guys want to get through 3 days of practice. They want to learn the golf course, do their prep. Opening ceremonies is always exciting, but it's always kind of, at the end of that, collect your stuff, hop in the cars, you get back to the team room, and the fun starts. We get to hang out together as a team, the camaraderie, they prepare, and they obviously get to compete, which is what we're all here for. So I think, everyone's just excited and get ready to start.
I'm sure there's a few questions about your picks, so we'll get started. Who would like to go first? Centre aisle here, microphone number 3.
Hey Jim, just wanted to ask you about pairing Tiger with Patrick, especially since Patrick and Jordan had been so successful.
Yeah, I think you saw those guys together a lot with Tiger as a vice captain. You also saw them in practice this week. Tiger and Patrick and Jordan and JT, and kind of looked at our options. I felt like we came out of in the past having our most successful pairing in the Ryder Cup. We had one very good pairing. I think we came out of it with 2 very good pairings. So the idea was, to double up and try to get 2.
And over to the right here on mic 1.
Jim, I'm sure it's not easy to sit anybody for this, but would you expect everybody to play tomorrow?
Well, it doesn't seem like I would want to tip my cap and tell you if everyone's going to play tomorrow. It would be really easy to probably at least come close to figuring out some pairings, I would guess. I think what I have right now is 12 guys that are committed to anything that it takes in the team room. I've had a number of guys tell me that in the team room. I've heard a number of them say it here in their interviews. And, the hard part is, calling guys and telling them they're not captain's picks. And the hard part is telling guys that we're going to rest you in the morning tomorrow. So we have 12 great players, as Europe does. Only 8 can play. And I think you'll see on both sides, guys really want to be a part of that team atmosphere, and we'll do whatever it takes.
In the centre here, Mike 2.
Jim, your choice of starting out with Tony and Brooks, perhaps maybe just because of the ability to make birdies between the 2 of them?
I think we love the chemistry there. I like both guys are really talk about team, really talk about the energy of their partner. Both explosive, as you mentioned, without a doubt. But they were excited, with the opportunity to go number 1. They in that first group, they were both really jumped on it. Saw me out there in practice today and made a beeline for me and said they'd like that opportunity. I'd mentioned it to Brooks early in the day, so excited about it. And yes, there's a lot of firepower in that group, and we hope it's a great 4-ball pairing.
And in the centre, mic 3.
Is there any part of you, as Thomas is announcing, his side for each of yours that's trying to process, and what did you think of it?
While we were announcing the names, I was pretty much just afraid I was going to announce the wrong pairing out. So I had this card in front of me, and it was supposed to have the logo, and I didn't want to name Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas when it was supposed to be Dustin Johnson and Ricky Fowler. And I'd gotten through the speech. I figured I just didn't want to screw up the last 8 names. But, I didn't really have the opportunity while we were reading them out to really process what was going on. I was trying to kind of stay tight with everything, speaking-wise. Once they were named and they put them back up on the scoreboard was the first time I kind of got to really think about matchups and how things look. And, as it is in any Ryder Cup, there's 4 great groups on either side. It's a wonderful matchup, and we'll have to see how it plays out tomorrow.
And staying in the centre here, mic 4.
Jim, you talked about getting together with the team tonight. What'll be your final message to them?
I thought a lot about it on the way out to the course this morning in the car over a cup of coffee and what I wanted to say. And, I've thought about, trying to message the players for a year and a half now and what I wanted to say and what I like to hear as a player. So I'm not really I'm not a cheerleader. I'm not a rah-rah type of person. So when I speak to the team and when I message them, I try to be as short as possible. I try to be precise and on point. And we've had some messaging points for the team already this week. And I think what's important to me is you try to pick what's the most important, and you kind of keep hammering it home. So just trying to reiterate some of the points and maybe throw in a little twist or two and have a little fun with the guys tonight, which would be good. Try to loosen things up.
Staying in the centre with Alex on mic 3.
Jim, when Thomas was in here, he said it was hard for him. All his 12 guys were playing well. A, are all your 12 guys playing well? And B, was it as hard for you?
It's always difficult, absolutely. And, yeah, I feel like we have a team of 12 guys playing well. All I kept hearing on the mic today was how Bubba was striping it. So, you got to, he's going to rest in the morning. He's got a little bit of a cold. As you all know, when he came in here yesterday, he's starting to feel a little better today. So thought it'd be great to get him some rest. Yeah, it's always difficult. But, again, on both sides, you got guys that are committed to, you mentioned it, it's been 25 years. These guys have looked at me and, they'll follow our lead as captains and they're committed to help the team out any way they can. So it's part of the experience. Just because a guy's not playing in tomorrow morning's match doesn't mean he's going to play won't play the next 3. You never know how things happen through this, and you keep them focused, you keep them on point, and you love for them to be chomping at the bit too, because you want them to get out there and want to get their first point.
And at the front here on mic 2.
Jim, do you think that the increasing pressure is the same for the two teams at this stage of the cup?
Absolutely. I think you look at the U.S. and, guys probably have a habit of putting too much pressure on ourselves here because it's been 25 years. Europe's putting pressure on themselves because we brought the cup over from the United States and we were successful in 16. I think, playing at home is wonderful for the fans. That adds a little pressure as well. It's a great thing. It's a beautiful thing, but it adds some pressure. We don't know the golf course as well as they do. There's all kinds of things. It's a Ryder Cup. There is pressure on both sides, and but these players they enjoy that. I mean, it's the grandest event in all of golf, and so they get to test themselves in that pressure and get out there and battle and enjoy the golf with a partner. And that's what the Ryder Cup's all about. And excited to get it started.
And at the front right here, mic 1.
Yeah, well, a question about, are you surprised the way the European team is teamed up for the first session?
No, I think, you look at maybe Jordan and Patrick, as you mentioned, aren't playing, but then you also, Rose and Stenson has kind of been one of those matchups that we've seen for a number of different Ryder Cups. In my back of my mind, I thought we looked at opportunities, what we may see from the European squad, but I really focused on the 12 guys I had in my team room and how we thought we could best play them and get them ready. And I spent the huge majority of my time on the U.S. side. So am I surprised by anything? No, because I think Thomas did the exact same thing on his side that we did, right? You take the pieces of the puzzle and you put them together and you try to come up with the 4 best pairings for tomorrow morning that give you an opportunity. And so both sides did that, and we'll do the same thing tomorrow, kind of late morning, trying to get ready for the afternoon. And I don't think there's any surprises, but we both did the same thing.
Mic 3 at the back here.
Do you think the friendship between Jordan and Justin played a part in your decision? How do you think that will help them come tomorrow morning?
I think the closeness and the number of rounds that they've played together is surely a help. I think I think there's some other signs between their two games. They're different styles of games, different ball flights. There's a lot of reasons why I think they match up, but surely the fact that they're good friends and they have that relationship and bond and have played a lot of golf together is always key as well.
And to the right here on mic 4.
What has Phil said about his game coming in, and what did he say when you said he's resting?
Phil was 100% on board. We had a great talk after a range session today, kind of right before lunch. he was 100% on board. You know, we've played a lot of these team events together, and I don't know how many he's been over here. This is number 12 for him, so I guess this is probably his 6th on foreign soil. 5 unsuccessful. You know, it's special for him to have the opportunity at 48 years old. He wants what's ever best for the team, and we had a good talk about his game. You know, I feel like you know, everyone on Tuesday verbatim felt tired, you know, and then Wednesday things started coming around, and he had a nice practice session this afternoon and felt good about his game, and I have a lot of confidence in Phil. I don't really, you know, practice is practice, and Tuesday a lot of the guys came in and said, you know, man, I'm tired, you know, I played a 5.5-hour practice round, and you know, they were. And I said, man, I never played good on jet lag. I got news for you. So, you know, let's learn the golf course and get going. It was funny on Wednesday. Everyone came back and said, man, I felt great today. I was hitting it really solid and going. So it was fun to see. I really feel like both sides of the pond have guys in really good form and world-class players. And Phil and I, like I said, we get back to your question, we had a great conversation. It was really about our team, and he feels good about his game, and I have a lot of confidence in him.
And at the back left here, Mike too.
Was it difficult for you to find Tiger's partner? Because we know that in the past, in doubles, his results were not so good.
Was it? No, not at all. I think we had a lot of options for Tiger and a lot of guys that wanted to play golf with him. Trying to find the right fit and the right person for both of them was key. None of us, you know, the teams that Tiger played on, the teams weren't successful. So none of us as an individual had good records. I don't think we were really concerned on the records. You know, what's most important was those team records. So anything we could do to kind of turn that around and move forward. And he's been in great form as of late. You know, since the PGA Championship, he's played amazing golf. So really, after coming off last week, I think it was more about getting him some rest and you know, trying to regroup and get ready to go this week.
And with Doug here and Mike 3 in the centre.
What would make you happy tomorrow, and what would make you nervous?
What would make me happy? Boy, that's a good question. I was unprepared for that one, too. What would make me happy? I think if I had guys that went out, had a hell of a lot of fun tomorrow, played their game, played their style, you know, accepted the nerves on the first tee and the giant crowd and the 6,000 people and guys that settled in after about 3 or 4 holes and they went out there and just competed and played their hearts out. That's what would make me happy. If we can stay within ourselves and within our process and not put the cart before the horse. These guys just go out there and, as Davis would say, go out and show off for the world. We'll be fine. You know, what would make me not happy is, or what was the word? Disappointed. Nervous. You know, I guess if guys started, you know, worrying about the outcome, worrying too much and putting pressure on themselves. And what would make me nervous, I showed up in the morning and guys had a look on their face that made me nervous, you know. I don't usually see that with this group. I see them screwing around and playing jokes on each other and having fun. So I expect to see that. What would make me nervous? If they showed up in a different frame of mind in the morning, which I don't expect to happen.
What's that face look like?
I've seen some oh shit faces in the Ryder Cup, I'll say that. I'm sure I've had a couple myself. So, yeah, that would make me nervous. I don't expect that to happen.
Staying in the centre, Mike 3.
Yeah, you said that there were a lot of people who wanted to play with Tiger, and that's no surprise. But why was Patrick the best fit?
I thought the chemistry. I think the fact that Tiger spent so much time with Jordan and Patrick the last couple of years, their knowledge of each other's games, or that surely of Tiger knowing Patrick's game, helped a significant amount. You know, again, number of different reasons. I think different styles of games as well. I think, you know, Patrick's a guy that really enjoys that moment and enjoys that big stage, and Tiger's one that brings it. So we thought it'd be a good pair.
And Mike 1 here, just behind.
Jim, you've been a vice captain and seen Patrick and Jordan play so well together.
Mhm.
How long ago did you start thinking you might split them apart? Is it something you've been thinking about for the whole, the past year, or is this more recent decision?
Well, not the past year. I mean, a year ago, I couldn't. No. A year ago, I mean, you look at his partners, Tiger Woods. I guess when Tiger made the team, we started trying to get these guys grouped up and give them options to play with folks. We ended up with one scenario where there was a group with, what you saw in practice today, Tiger and Jordan and Justin and Patrick, and there's a significant number of options. Obviously, Patrick and Jordan being one of those, and maybe a Tiger and JT. And you start crossing around. There's all kinds of options within those four players. It probably came about a little bit more when Tiger joined the team. Before that, or when these group of guys went together and they started practicing together at home and started talking about these pairings. Then the idea there that we had a significant number of options, which we're always kind of looking for when we're grouping up pairings. It's not always that you're trying to always get. I'm not really trying to get 6 twosomes out there and limit yourself with what you have. I'm looking for options, and putting those 4 players together gave us options. Say, whatever it was 3-4 weeks ago, we started thinking about it, and this became the option we like the best for right now.
Mike 4 here at the front.
Jim, here. We know that playing, being a player in the Ryder Cup is something difficult to explain. Being you such a good communicator and sincere communicator, can you make an effort and in a few words say something new about what it means to be a player?
You don't want me to do it in French, do you? I don't think my communication skills are that good. I think there's just so much history and so much passion in the Ryder Cup. We get to play in a team sport. We're wearing our country's flag or the European flag for the other team. We just don't get the opportunity to compete in an event like this very often. So with that, these guys, they get probably more nervous than they've ever been in their careers. They probably show more passion and emotion from disappointment and happiness than you see for most people in their careers. And with that, I think the fans just, that they get to see kind of a different type of golf tournament. And, with that, the guys, they're as nervous as they're ever going to be, and they're also as excited, and it's the ultimate competition. They get to test their games under all of those conditions, which is all any sportsman really ever wants, is to be given that stage and the opportunity.
We'll take a final question here. Mike 3 at the back.
Can you take me through the thought process of the DJ Ricky pairing, please?
Through the thought process of it?
Yeah. Why was that your decision there?
Again, ideas that we came up with as a team. Mentioned that to the 2 of those folks weeks and weeks and weeks ago, and had them talk about it, think about it. Golf balls, mannerisms, what they like in their partner, personalities. I mean, there's significant. Again, it's they work together in a lot of different ways, but both have that kind of laid-back mannerism that they both like, and I think they pair up real well. So again, we'll see. New pairing for both of them, and something they've been working on a lot in the last month or so. So they're excited about it.
Great. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone.
Appreciate it.